96% of you who voted wanted me to do a spicy take on my 2023 predictions. And for this one, we're going to have to replace the official Red Mesa tinfoil hat with the new Red Mesa Faraday cage hat. I want to be upfront and let you know a few items first. In the world of intelligence, most scenarios are given as a percentage, as in there's 11% chance this item could happen. In simple terms, what that means is there's 89% chance of it not happening as it is described in the scenario. Now, I'm not going to be giving any percentages of likelihood for these items happening, but I will say the Faraday cage one has like a 0.01% chance of actually happening, but boy, would it be interesting if it did get through Congress. So let's dive into the first spicy prediction. I believe the use of ad hoc cyber attack communities will now become the norm. Now, what I mean by this, if you have not heard or you hadn't paid attention, when Russia invaded Ukraine, at that time there was something formed called the Ukrainian IT Army. The name may be a little deceiving, as what it really was pretty much a free-for-all on anyone who wanted to attack anything Russian. Now, if you joined this, you got no top cover, right? You didn't get any get out of jail free cards. You're putting yourself out there for an ideology. Is that a bad thing? No, not always. But I will say with 100% certainty that other state actors who did have top cover use this to run some smaller ops. And this new trend is only the beginning. All I have to say is for those who are going to join these in the future, make sure you understand the risk. The risk is not going to be immediate for most, but it is there in 3, 5, 10 years from now. There may be some consequences. On the flip side, there may never be any fallout, but be mindful of joining ad hoc cyber attack communities. The second spicy prediction is the 2023 Mexico governor's elections in 2 states in Mexico, and then also the 2024 Mexico presidential elections will determine if the US has a friendly neighbor or a hostile one during World War III. Now, if you haven't been paying attention to Central and South America over the last 6 years, I'll let you know China has a huge influence there. But the large influence push actually started 10 years ago in 2013. Now, it started a little slower than everyone would expect, but it took off in 2016. If you visit Mexico now, you'll see it's flooded with tech from Chinese-owned companies. And I get it. There's a ton of stuff made in China here, like, Apple computers and whatnot. But what I'm talking about is a ton of products that are made by companies tied to the CCP. It's not just cheap Chinese cell phones themselves that I'm talking about that's everywhere, which they are. It's also the 5G networks that are rolling out in southern and central parts of Mexico, which are largely being deployed with Huawei Systems hardware. Now, Huawei is a Chinese-owned telecommunication company who uses stolen American IP and cooperates fully with the Chinese Communist Party. They're going to deny it on their site always, by the way. Now, I could go on about China's influence in Central and South America for hours, but in short, China's influence in the area already may be so deep that the US may not be able to flip it no matter who is voted in. Now, before we go into my last spicy predictions, if you like the content, let us know by booping that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can be alerted for other great content that we produce. Now, let's get to the last spicy prediction. First, I'm going to have to put on the official Red Mesa Faraday cage hat. It's grounded. Here we go. Now, for my fringe prediction of 2023, there are going to be talks in Congress about the use of letters of marque and reprisal, but now with like 100% more cyber. Now, if you're not familiar with these letters, it allows for privateering, giving folks private citizens, the ability to take over vessels of enemies of the US and bring them back to US ports. These would have to be tuned for 2023 times and remote cyber operations, but the discussion of these is not completely foreign. In 2021, we had HR 3076 being introduced, which if passed, would allow the president to hand these letters out again. Combos around this subject picked up again around 2008-ish, I believe, and even more pushes were being made behind closed door in 2012, where cyber ops were introduced in the idea of being covered under these letters. In 2022, HR 6869 was introduced, as well as, again, to allow efforts for Americans to take Russian yachts and other items. Now, even if they are discussing it, does not mean it would ever get approved or pass Congress, which is why it says it has a 0.01% chance of really happening. The talks will happen, but it will likely not get past that. Now, I will say the majority of the cybersecurity world does not feel ready for things like hackback attacks, let alone cyber privateering. But I bet if you spent some time around DC and Virginia, you would find there are companies who do support such items. Hey, are you still here? If you want to see more great content like this, make sure you boop that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, share this video on social media with your friends. As always, stay safe and happy hacking.